Welcome back, everybody. Let's go live. We'll just do something different today. We'll play a bit of 28 Days Later for this evening. Loads. Oh, okay. Maybe not then. It's still DayZ. It's just 28 Days Later version of DayZ. Though I think it's probably crashed now. Let me just get it to reboot. Try again. Just a different server, John. Just wanted something different to run around that was Chernarus Plus, so we could just run around, have people, if they want to ask questions about the next wipe, they can do. Got a few players on here. It's about yes, nearly 50% full, the server. The other thing I like to do is by running around some of the other servers out there, I can see if I've got things on it that might work for us. Yeah, that's what we're doing this evening. I've just about sobered up from my Tuesday night staff do. I detest when servers do this. Like, you can spawn anywhere you want to. It's one of my, including the airfield. It's yeah, it's sort of a recce. That's a good way of putting it. Where's the fun in working your way over the map? Gearing up as you go. I've already had enough of this server. There is no way I am playing this. This has every feature I hate in one hit. We'll find something else. How was it? I was very drunk. That will be a good answer to that one. Find something else to run around on. My trick. Certainly won't be 28 days later. That's for sure. Solo, duo, trio, search, third person off, because nobody needs third person in their lives. Rank order. Find something that's playable. I'm sure I might have had fun. We went out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't really remember that much, to be perfectly honest. The New Hope for a while. A lot of mods, not many players on. Now Battle Matrix has crashed. Down, that's useful. Not. Yeah, no, it was good fun. It was the people I worked with. We just went out and drank ourselves into oblivion, and I was home about 7 o'clock at night. Tea won't be running that one. Yeah, Battle Matrix is playing up massively. Right, let's go for something we've already got a link to then. Let's jump on to a loaded Sakal. But yeah, no, it's good. We went to a little pub in Exeter that's on the waterfront. Had 6 beers, walked up to Weatherspoons, had an awful lot more beer and something to eat. I had mixed grill. Wandered into main town, did shots and more beer. I did a bit of mine sweeping for old time's sake. Had a bit of more food, and then decided because people were getting a little bit silly, it was time to withdraw before there was any trouble, because I don't need that associated with my name. So went home. It was good. Spent the whole of yesterday at work with a hangover, and most of today at work with no hangover now, but just feeling like completely drained. So tonight for tea I had pizza. I needed junk food, as sometimes you do. Yeah, it wasn't expensive. I spent about 50 notes. But yeah, it was alright. The boss decided he wanted us all to drink espresso martinis, and I can't stand them. But when they're pushed in front of your face, you have to drink them. It's a law. So I'm quite looking forward to actually just building the new server now. But I'm on leave in, well, this time next week I'll be building the server. I'm on leave next Wednesday after duties, so like I said, next Thursday lunchtime I'll wipe and then rebuild. It was, they were bloody awful. Wouldn't say lucky. It's not. It's a sort of. It's not that sort. It's the sort of server where. Loot room. Go over the top after all that. Hey Goblin, that looks. Hello everyone. Repent of your sins, believe in Jesus Christ. Thank him a new person in your life. Mark 16:15. Please refrain from any religious stuff on my chat. Thank you. We don't do religion here. We're united by gaming. We don't discuss religion at all. If you want me to discuss religion, I'm more than willing to do so, but not on a closed forum, like on an open forum like this, where people could. We respect people's beliefs or non-beliefs. I mean, if you really want me to discuss religion with you, I'm more than happy to. There's some questions I have. Oh, goodbye then, Mark. Excellent. Such a shame. I had some really interesting questions for him. Seems like he didn't want to talk. I needed to know. And normally I don't discuss religion, but I'm in the right mood tonight to have a talk about religion with him. And he's not here to do it. And I had so many questions he could have answered. You know, how come sex before marriage is wrong? But in the time of the Bible, if it was real, there wasn't anything called marriage. Was it just set up by the church to make money, the word marriage? I mean, that's, to me, quite an interesting question. Or my favourite one. There was Adam and Eve, and they had 2 sons. So where did the rest of us come from? Think about it. But no, wasn't going to happen. Such a shame. Hey ho, that's life. Right, have they got full-size metal on this server? No, they haven't. So I am looking forward to having a Chernarus build. As I said, I've never done a Chernarus build for you guys. And the last Chernarus build I did wasn't a survival build, so it'd be really nice to do a survival build. Yeah. As I said, I don't normally do religion, but if he'd wanted to really discuss it, I'd have had that conversation. I was brought up in a religious family and ran away from it the first opportunity I got. But I'm more than happy to have conversations about religion if he really wanted one. But it had to be constructive. I don't have a problem with people that believe, as long as they're happy for other people not to believe. What I don't like is being ambushed on my channel with somebody telling me that I have to believe. It's like me walking into their church and trying to sell computer games. They wouldn't expect it. So how come they think they can come onto a channel and talk about their world? You can tell this is a modded server, can't you, from the amount of loot I'm finding. You're not meant to be this geared on a Goblin server this early. And look how small everything is. Yeah, I get that. And I wasn't Catholic, I was C of E, Church of England. But the way my parents treated Church of England, it might as well have been... It was hardline Church of England. It might as well have been Christian. Sorry, Catholic. But that's their choice. That was what they believed, not what I believe. I think probably one of my reasons for running away to join the army was to get away from the small village where everybody knew what everybody was doing and everyone had to go to church. That's alright, it's life. Right then, so, white. Let's go on to more interesting subjects. What else are we going to do? We're going to have an expansion-based build because that makes sense. It's stable, it works. I haven't decided yet on keycard rooms. Decided against helicopters. I did think about it long and hard. But I've binned off the idea of helicopters now. We're up here. Probably want to, in real terms, probably pop down to there, don't I? Have a look. 8Ks. Okay. We're going to leave boats in. Because that seems like a sensible thing to do. Yes, that's how I see it. Some of the nicest people, some of the best people in the world I've met have not had a belief. And some of the worst people I've met in the world have been fighting because of religion. Because my belief, my fake fairy in the sky is better than your fake fairy in the sky. But hey ho. It's just like Xbox and PlayStation and PC owners all fighting over which is the best console. Cars are a difficult one. I don't think we need them. I really don't. And there is reasoning behind that. If we're going to run the server long term, the more loot people have in their bases, the quicker the wipe will come. Because there'll be nobody raiding your bases. So the more loot people can get inside, the more unstable the server will become, the more unstable it becomes, the more I'm likely to have to do a wipe. So by restricting vehicles, or not having vehicles, or if we do having vehicles, making them ultra expensive only, can't find in the world, buy only, it forces players to have to carry everything, which means they have less loot. If they have less loot, the server's more stable, and we're going to have a longer wipe. Because as soon as you give people cars, they drive to Tissy, they get out, they fill the car, they drive home, they put it in their base. And if we don't have a lot of players on the map, what's going to happen really quickly is all the bases are going to be full up with loot. They're going to lag like anything. The server's going to cause problems. I'm going to have to wipe. and everyone's going to be pissed off that it didn't last like 12 weeks. It's only been 4 weeks. Yeah? And when you turn around and say it's because your guys are collecting too much loot, they'll be like, well, oh, that's not our fault. You know? And Cherno isn't a big map. So, I've got to decide on how we do the vehicle thing yet. And I don't know. I don't know. I can't, because I can't afford to run to have server with all these upgrades so it will last, with people having massive bases full of loot. Which is why we have 5 code locks, because that way you don't you've got a better chance of being raided. And if there's a better chance of you being raided, by its very nature, there's a better chance of losing your loot, and it getting recycled round the map. Obviously, there'll be a lot more military zombies than normal. Yeah, but then Cherno, as you said, is a bigger map, but it isn't that much bigger, mate. In real terms, you can run from one side of Cherno to the other easily enough. And I quite like the idea of players having to make choices. You know, do I live near to the trader and probably get raided? Do I live near the middle of the map, trader area, more likely to get raided, more likely to get hit, more likely to be a problem? Or do I move further away for safety, but have more of a trip? But what I might do is look at some other way of doing things. I did like the idea of the gyrocopter, but I'd have to load all the vehicle mods to get just the gyro. Which I don't think is the right thing to do. Though I do like the idea of the gyro. We're not invested in the map. We're not thinking tactically. Yeah, exactly. And I hate putting mods on just for the sake of having mods on. I like them to have a use. And I don't want to have massive amounts of space we're taking up for people just because we want one item. Which is why I don't tend to give everybody weapon packs unless I can get very small weapon packs. Ah, welcome to level 2. So I don't know about the vehicle thing, though we'll see. It's whether I can do a vehicle mod that's expensive to buy and it has no storage, if that makes sense. As horrible as that sounds. If it just becomes a way of moving that's slow, has no extra storage, and costs a lot of money, then I don't have so much of a problem with it. But again, I'm not sure it fits into this. It's the end of the world. Freestanding base is your best option, mate. Far less likely to be found. Oh. Fire alarm's gone off downstairs. I'll just give somebody a chance to clear it. Somebody will be cooking down there. There we go. Yeah, it's a modded server. You know what they're like. Yeah, and you're not going to have that problem on Chernarus in the same way. People know where the wells are, and the wells are easier to find. And you're not going to get frozen lakes, so catching fish while out in the ground is easier to do. We will have airdrops back in, but they'll only initiate when we've got more than 2 players on the server. It won't, so we don't, I might even say more 3 players or more on the server before an airdrop comes in. I haven't decided about key crates yet. If I have them, they'll be on oil rigs. I think we're going to have 2 traders. At the moment we're going to have 1 trader at Alta, an identical trader on an oil rig. So if the Alta's the more dangerous one, middle of the map, everyone goes there, more chance of getting killed. But to get the oil rig, you'll need to have a boat. So it'll be for people that want to make the investment in getting a boat and securing a base with a boat. They can then go out to the oil rig trader, which is probably safer, but by its very nature, it's going to be, your base will have to be then freestanding on the shoreline to secure a boat. But I haven't decided on that fully yet until I test it. But I quite like the idea of that. Give players a choice of trader. And then probably another oil rig that's got key cards on it, if we have key cards. Or loot crates, if we've got loot crates. Again, people have to have a reason to go out there. Because what I don't want to do is have crates all over the map and say you can't build in any room that's got a crate on it. It just becomes, I like saying you can't build anywhere apart from the traders or oil rigs, you know, to make it very simple. Yeah, I mean, I could do something like I could do crates in say every police station, but then I'd have to put a boundary around every police station to stop people building there. I mean, it's not difficult. It's not a problem. A little bit of mapping for me to do, but it's not difficult to do. Plenty airdrops, as I've said. I'd like to get something like hackable crate working. I mean, we're doing a long wipe, so it's about making play. If we're going to do a long wipe, players have got to have something to do the whole time. Survivor missions, as long as I can get it working, will be in, because that gives players something to physically do. You know, get a radio, tune it in, follow the instructions, move across the map to deal with it. What I want is a mid-game, and the mid-game would be the survivor missions. You've built your base, you've secured your location, you've then got things to do, which, if there's more than one player on the map, they're both trying to do the same thing. So you've got a chance of having PvP. And then end game would be raiding. We're going to have an end game bunker in with a swipe card to get into it. Certainly. Potentially we will have some AI. Well, we'll certainly have zombies in there. We'll probably have some AI in there as well. And key crates. And you'll need to find a Livonia swipe card to get in. And that'll be up in Tissy area. You guessed. So yeah, so that's certainly going to look at that happening. Nasty man. We'll have AI on the helicopters, because again, it's the right thing to do. We'll probably have the when skinning a predator, more predators might turn up mod. We'll certainly have it cold. Yes, yeah. And that would be much the same. We're still going to have it as -15. -15 works really well. Oh, more puppies. No easy to climb on cars around here, is there? They do, don't they? Such friendly creatures. We'll probably have the hard polar bear again. Obviously, you have things like cows back for food. Trying to find a weapon pack that works. I'd like to give you guys access to things like maybe a Scar H in 308. Make it a nice long range 308 assault rifle bleak sniper type weapon. Something that can dual roll. Trader will buy and sell less again because it won't be a nail driven base building. Base building, you'll need nails to build your base, but you won't need nails to keep your base alive. Oh, talking of bases. So yeah, so certainly that. And that would be a loot crate reward, realistically. Something that you have to put some time and effort into getting. What I don't want is a server filled with everybody running around with a Scar H all the time. That really defeats the object of having them. Oh, hello, Mr. Bear. So on the loaded server, you've got to protect your flag at all costs, because anyone that can lower your flag. That's why I load his flag for him. So he might come back on, say, later tonight and find he hasn't got a base. Oh, I'll teach him not to secure his flag. I know, I know. I heard him at distance, so I haven't heard him growl a second time, so... Obviously, we'll do the standard. You need to find a map to have a map or buy one. Trader will sell nails, but they'll be expensive. And I think Trader will buy all the weapon parts and animal skins and will sell you base building tools and storage. Oh, another base. Yeah, the code locks and nail thing's a bit weird because they aren't working. And don't ask me why. 1.26 has mucked up all the code. But new friends with code locks. And money. Sorry, 14,106. It's nice of them. You got a trader on here. Only BMs. We do need to find food, or we need to go back there and steal his. Throw away. All these people building bases and not getting nails to secure things. I don't get it. Going to die. Let's not die near his base. Let's make sure he loses the stuff he's got. Yeah. See, what I would have done there is gone, yeah, I'm going to build in that house. I'll put my tent down in the woods because I don't yet have any nails. And I'll stash everything in the woods in the tent, maybe. Yeah? And then once I've got that box of nails, then I'll go over and build the base and secure it and then move everything inside. But what would I know? Obviously, we realise we're a good chance we're going to die up here. He'll be pleased, though, to come home and find someone's helped themselves, won't he? They'll come back to their base and go, oh, I'm so glad someone else has got access to this stuff. No, we don't have barrel burying. What you can do, though, on GoblinZ is find a big enough tree that you could hide a barrel inside. Cut the tree down. Put the barrel about there. But you'll have to drop it, not place it. And when the tree grows back, the barrel will be covered. And then if the barrel is open when you do that, you'll be able to run up to that tree and put things inside the barrel. That'll work. The trouble is, if we have burying barrels, that means I need to put another mod on. It's all about trying to work out which mods we have and which we don't all the time. As you know. So it's a hard balancing act. Yeah, it often won't let you place items unless you've got a base. But that doesn't mean you can't drop items. But they won't last forever, as you know. Without having protection. But if you had like 3 or 4 trees that you were marked on your map and each one had a barrel inside, you could probably get away without having a base on GoblinZ. Though next wipe, barrels will last for 14 days and then despawn. If I had a test server now, I'd jump in and show you. Might be some food down there, mightn't there? Only need to find a tin of food and we're sorted. Chance of making it there alive is pretty minimal. Obviously, we'll still have sleep mod. I like that. Potentially still have the recipes, because I think that works quite well. Then sleep's good. The sleep mod's brilliant. It fits in with the survival server really well. It would never work on a PvP server like this, but with a survival server, it does work. I'd like to give players sleeping bags, but don't make them spawn at base sleeping bags. Make them so if you lie on the sleeping bag when you're next to your fire, you get a buff to how quickly your sleep goes up. That to me would be a better way of having it. I don't want people spawning at bases. It just means if you raid someone and they're home and you kill them in a PvP fight, they know where you are, and they'll raid next to their fucking loot room and be rearmed, ready to go. And that doesn't make it feel very fair to me. Ugh. But the version of Chernarus you're getting looks like this, mate. It has the same build as this. The reason I want to go to Chernarus is if we're limiting the amount of players that will play the server because they have to buy the DLC. Where there might be players that want to play GoblinZ, but they can't now because they don't own the DLC. And we've done a little bit of time on Sakao now, and we can run a far longer wipe on Chernarus or Livonia. Livonia would be my normal choice of map, but Chernarus has different options. And everybody loves Chernarus. It's the most popular map out there. And because it's so popular, it seems like a sensible option. Obviously, we'll have AI on helicopters because it works. Yeah, but a lot of players hate Livonia. That's the trouble. I'm trying to up the amount of people that play the server. If I can up the amount of people that are playing the server, then I'll keep it at a 30-slot server, if that makes sense. Because I can justify it. And Chernarus is a big enough map that if we had, amazingly, 30 players playing it on a regular basis, it wouldn't be an issue. I love how you can climb through a bonnet. Which server owners are more creative with taking out stuff that's not needed on maps? 15 slots, 15 instead of what we've got. Yeah. M700. Yeah. Very nice, but not really needed. Yeah. I'm just running around playing badly just because I needed to do a run tonight. We're just running, basically. as you might have gathered, I'm not overly interested in Sakal now for what we're doing. So that works. After the restart, we will need a fire. Yeah, I know. Who'd survive without it? Very weird playing a Sakal that's got so much loot, isn't it? And that's the thing, Chernarus will feel... I'm not going to nerf clothing, but I am going to nerf all other loot. So clothing will stay the same as vanilla, but the rest of the loot will be nerfed. And the reason I'm keeping clothing the same is you're going to have a long way to travel all the time. So being able to make bandages and make all that sort of stuff makes sense. More than likely, but not all over. They won't be dynamic. They'll be fixed. And it'll be one area. I haven't decided which yet. And whichever area it is will be high tier loot. We know that. Maybe Tissy Bunker that I'm putting in. Or the Tissy area that's behind a swipe card. Maybe that'll be gassed. So... you go there and you have to worry about a swipe card, full NBC suit, all that sort of stuff to be able to get to where the Scar H potentially spawns. Or I might just leave them as normal but turn off the... so the hospital's done and the other place. Yes. Has to be something that players can't easily get. There has to be, yeah, with a nice reward at the end. Yes, I agree. If we're going to do that, we need reward, not luck, in getting the Scar H. That makes sense. It has to be something that players work up to. If we're going to run a long wipe, then I wouldn't expect people to have Scar H's in the first 3 weeks of wipe, if that makes sense. Something that takes time to get to. And ultimately, I'd like to stay on Chernarus long term. So then when we do wipe, we're not adding new mods. We're just wiping because we've had the server up for 3 months and everyone needs to start again. And the server comes straight back up and we go again. Ace, if you need any help setting things up, just drop a message into the Discord of what you're having issues with. A lot of us are pretty experienced with the whole gaming PC malarkey. Both myself and Mark have a lot of knowledge. Oh, don't be so stupid. There we go. It's a massive tech leap. It's a whole new world for you. I'm glad you've made the move, though. Really glad you've made the move. Once you get your head round it, you'll get why people come across. But that initial bit where you are now, it's like a, why does it not work like it should mode. Just doing a run on someone else's server tonight, Ace, not my own. Just so I can chat to you guys, basically. We can talk about the next wipe for GoblinZ. And if I get killed or I die, it's not a problem. Awesome, to be honest, I'm having audio issues right now. Can't get my headphone right ear to work or other Bluetooth set to ping. Bluetooth, I know nothing about. Not my world. I use everything. Everything is fixed cables with me. I don't have any wireless or Bluetooth technology on my system, mainly because I just don't want the ping problem, or I don't want batteries having to. I like to run everything wired, and it's just me, just how I've always been. But maybe some of the other guys, and certainly asking in the Discord, maybe I'll put in there something. I'll do a channel in the under information for tech help. So if you've got any sort of issues with setting PCs up and things, ask a question and someone might be able to jump in and help, or certainly point you in the right direction. As I said, there's a lot of experience in there in gaming. Astra 10s. Okay. So I have I think I have Astras. I think I have Astras. But mine aren't Bluetooth. But certainly I'll do a tech channel, and then you can ask the question, and then anyone that's got any ideas can jump in and try and help. At the end of the day, we want everyone to have the best chance of playing on PC. It's got to be the way to go. And in all honesty, we're wiping the server in a week's time. It'll be a different map. So as much as you could jump in now and run around, you're not missing anything to not do it, if that makes sense. Okay. Have you downloaded the... I can't remember. Does Astra have a... software to run it? Not sure if mine do. I think I'm just running it on Windows generic drivers. You can grow things in Sakal. It's a myth that you can't. Maybe not on GoblinZ, but you can grow in Sakal. Just have to pick the right food stuff that grows in the cold. So potatoes will grow in Sakal, on Sakal normal. Just need to cut the seeds out. I have no idea what you're going to get for these levels. It was something that that Botrix suggested we had to make people chat more. And I was like, yeah, just enable it. Might work. You guys all chat away quite happily though. It's good. But this is the thing, Sakal, even on the big players maps, isn't massively popular. So going across to Chernarus gives me a far better chance of picking up players. And even going to Livonia, again, or Deer Isle, again, people just like, yeah, I don't like Deer Isle, you know. Oh, Stream Deck is out of this world, mate. I've had the 15 button ones since it first came out. They are awesome. They really are. Just been able to do it on stream, like when it's night time, I can hit that button and you guys get gamma straight away. Being able to switch between screens, you know, not that I'm going to go, but they are. And then live, just doing it on a button press. It's great. And once you get used to using a keyboard and mouse, it won't be so bad. Because gaming, when you come from a console to PC and suddenly you've got this mouse and a keyboard and trying to work out what you're doing, must be a nightmare. As bad as I feel when I pick up a console, when I pick up a controller, when someone gives me an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller and I'm like, how does this work? It doesn't feel natural to me. And the 4070 you've got is a nice card. Yeah, I've got a foot pedal. I use it for push to talk. So if I'm playing an event server or I'm playing with other people that are streaming, I'll turn push to talk on a foot pedal. I was looking this week at a monitor arm, but I can't quite get myself to justify it in my head. At the moment, I've got my monitor propped up on a couple of books and it's at just the right height, and I don't think I can warrant spending the money that I'd have to spend to get a good monitor arm when I don't need it. But it took me a lot to convince myself not to. It's really difficult because, you know, in the past, I've always, every time we've got to Christmas, I've bought myself something for my PC. So I've always needed to upgrade something. Whereas at the moment, I don't need to. Touch wood. I go to 1080 or better, it lags. In what game? Shouldn't make a difference overly on your internet, because as long as you've got, it depends what game you're playing, obviously, but it shouldn't be lagging. It might be something to do with the drivers. How are you running the latest NVIDIA drivers for your card rather than the Windows generic ones? Or did I just speak complete geek? Basically, you can download something called NVIDIA do like an app, and if you download that and then run it, it'll tell you whether your drivers are up to date. The problem with Windows is Windows will use their own driver for the graphics card, and it's not as good as NVIDIA's basic one or NVIDIA's one. I mean, I have fair internet here, but I didn't need it, if that makes sense, for what I'm doing. And for something like DayZ, you certainly don't need it. But I mean, what's my most graphically intense game? Grey Zone? Stalker 2. They work fine. What speed internet do you have? Welcome back, John. Okay. Yeah, that might cause an issue. I grew up in a little farming village in England where they were the last place in the world to get internet. So I feel your pain on that one. And I grew up obviously in a time before the internet, but yeah, growing up in the countryside is amazing until it gets to needing things to do with the modern world. I remember dial-up. Yeah. Yeah. I remember having a 33k modem on dial-up, and Rainbow Six, the original Rainbow Six came out, and the demo was 100 megs, and it took me over 24 hours to download it. Just 100 megs to be able to play the demo. I had my own phone line put into my bedroom when I left the army and moved home, so I could game. And I ran a business for a while. I ran a little computer company, but just so I wasn't taking up the phone line that Mum needed. Over here, our infrastructure in the UK is pretty good for internet, but there are places like that here where you move a mile away from a town or a major city and suddenly no one's got anything that works very well, especially in the farming communities. You'll see it costs a lot more money to run stuff out there when there's not a lot of people tapping into it, so it never seems to happen. And I believe John will probably agree with me, even though he's not up there, but some areas of Scotland are really bad for internet. And the places that need it the most don't tend to get the infrastructure. Yeah, so to stream, you're going to need... What was I streaming on? On Twitch, I was streaming with... probably about 15 down and 6 up was probably the minimum I could stream on. Happily. As to gaming, it doesn't matter as much, obviously. And again, why something like GoblinZ will probably work well for you because there's not hundreds of other players on it. But if you get on some of these big modded servers that are full of hundreds of players, it becomes a major issue with lag. I get the rural thing. As I said, I grew up as... Yeah. So the village the village I grew up in was, when I was there, my first school, so that I attended from like 5 years old to 11, that had 14 people in the entire school. 14 children and 2 teachers. All my friends were in the farming community. A lot of my friends still now are farming. My father worked in the farming world. And at times I miss it. I miss living out in the sticks, in the countryside. I live in a small town now. But at others, I've got internet that's 300 down and 70 up. You know, I'm not going to get that out in the countryside. As I've said before, I work for the military. I can drive to work in 10 minutes. Yes! That's what it was like, but in the UK. But you will be able to do next week, mate, whenever I get it up. I think they missed out on that ice axe they brought out. They should have let people cut holes in the ice to fish. But maybe it's one of those things that they just never got round to doing. And then you would have then had a problem, wouldn't you, of players falling into the holes in the ice and getting stuck. Or hiding stashes under the ice. Where do you reckon game code or key purchasing? Steam? Ooh. If you can afford it, Steam, because you're guaranteeing the code you get will always work. If you don't mind taking a risk, then CD keys are pretty good. And I've never had a problem with them, but I would never guarantee that you never will have a problem with them, if that makes sense. But I have a lot of games, but I don't buy that many games. I play now. The point I am now, I play DayZ, I play Stalker 2, I play a bit of Grey Zone, Medieval sometimes. So I don't really play that many games anymore. Yeah, no, that would have been amazing. Cutting ice out. That would have been awesome. So I don't buy that many games anymore. DayZ got me hooked. And once it had its little pincers in me, it's not really let me go. And I really enjoy like the base building side of DayZ and making my own servers. Obviously the GoblinZ thing is quite a big thing for me. I love the challenge of making a server and getting people to play it and enjoy it. I did, yes. But I've bought DayZ multiple times. the thing with Frostline is if you're buying Frostline to play GoblinZ, in a week's time we won't have it anymore. We'll be back on Chernarus looking like this. So don't waste money on it unless you're going to play it, if that makes sense. Obviously I didn't pay in US dollars, but I get what you're saying. And I'm glad you did find DayZ, because it's the people find DayZ and they either, let's be honest, they either get it and they go, oh, this makes sense. It's a hard game, but it can be so many different things. Other people will come in and go, I hate this. What's the objective? Where's the points? How do I win? And trying to get their heads around the fact that to win, all you have to do is live longer than anyone else is a hard concept for gamers. Well done, the level up. The community in DayZ is amazing. It's how I put the community in DayZ is they'll kill you, but most of them afterwards will explain where you went wrong and try and make you into a better player. Also on PC, you have so many events happening on DayZ all the time. John only plays Frostline at the moment, but John plays probably speaking out of turn, but John plays a massive amount of GoblinZ. Yeah, so many choices. Body armor, not really. Yeah, okay, then that makes sense. So what I do is I wipe the map and we start again on a new server with a whole new map and everything. We just had a few problems on the last one and I want to make something better for you guys to play. In another one. Fuck it. We'll do without. Go and get some food. Hello, Mr. Zombie. Not today, mate. It doesn't matter. Wipes don't. But what I didn't want you doing was spending $25 or whatever it is on a DLC if you weren't going to play it. Do we have rope? Yes, we do. So we could push for offshore, catch a fishy, and cook it. Ear the mouse. Oh, there's 100. There's about 40 modded maps. Pacific Northwest. What else can I think of? There's hundreds of them. Well, not hundreds, but there's lots of them. Bitterroot. Yeah. And they all have good and bad things about them. Yeah, Anastraza, good map. Well, we had pet crocodiles, wasn't it? Well, I wouldn't say pet. We had crocodile or alligators, basically. Lux, Takistan. Takistan's a desert map. But yeah, so there's lots and lots of different maps, Ace. Server owners. So whereas on official, you were used to like official wipes that BI would do where they'd wipe your character and it would happen maybe every year or every 6 months. On PC modded servers, it happens more often. Because people end up with so much loot and the server starts slowing down. So what would happen is server owners will wipe the server, make everyone start again. Sometimes they'll switch maps, which is what I've done historically, is every time we've done a wipe, we've switched maps. But what I want to do with GoblinZ in the future is have it on one server only, or on one map that we run for a long period of time. It might not be forever, but it would be nice to have a server that I can put up there, people can play for say 12, 4 months, 5 months maybe, and then we wipe it and they start again and it goes back up quite quickly. Because at the moment, because I only have one server and nowhere to develop it, I need to take the server down. So next Thursday I'll take GoblinZ offline and I will write GoblinZ again. I'll upload the server software, I'll build the map, I'll get the balance in place, I'll test some things out, and then when it's ready I'll release it again and make it and take the password off it and let everybody play it. But I'd like to get to the point eventually where I have a second server that's just for development. But it's cost. You know, I can't afford at the moment to do that. But we're getting there. You know, we've got the server covered for the next year, which is amazing. But also, by going to Cherno, a lot of players don't like some of the other maps that are out there. And a lot of players won't buy Sakal because it costs money. So, I'm limiting the people that will play GoblinZ by staying on a map that costs money to play. You liked the pet crocs, didn't you? Oh, Wellington boots. What do you reckon? I'm seeing so many different options to buy DayZ and different options like standard edition, gold, preloaded. How the hell do I choose option? I miss buying simple Atari cartridges. I don't know how to answer that one at the moment. Because I just bought DayZ and then had to buy Livonia and then had to buy... Yeah. I would say some of the more expensive options, all they come with as an extra is a soundtrack, so it's probably not worth having. Come on, game. Give me my keys back. There we go. I get what you mean, though. Yeah. Back when you could play Pitfall. Or Empire Strikes Back. Dinner. Yes. That's massive. And I'm sure when they come up with their next DLC in the future... same thing will happen. So we need food and we need heat. Before we die. They're fucking wet through by now, aren't they? That'll keep me alive for the moment. K4G. I'm not sure what K4G is. Will it, John? Account, not code. I'm wary of buying accounts because if it's already been banned for somebody else, you might buy their banned account. that would always worry me. If somebody sells an account, and there is a Steam sale on at the moment. I don't know whether they've reduced the price of DayZ in that Steam. I'd never normally recommend going here to cook, but we don't at the moment have a lot of choice. Yeah, if you had a banned account, you could put it up for sale on some of those websites, and somebody else will buy it, and then it becomes their banned account. Yeah, that's another fair point. They will drop the price for the Christmas run. They're bound to. Plus, really like 2 pluses. Hate this mod where you move your hands around looking your pouches all the time. I mean, I love Livonia. It's one of my favourite maps. But a lot of players don't. Oh, 100% Ace. When the new server is up and running, I really hope you'll play it. Give it a go. Come and kill people. With it, camp black market because you'll work out that, or camp the trader because you're allowed to. Kill some people. Build a base. Survive. Get raided. Raid others. Go to something that's got code locks rather than bicycle locks to lock things down with. Right, we need to move because we've hung around there far too long. And I know where we're going. Yeah, I love Livonia. Livonia reminds me of home. But I also love Chernarus. I don't particularly enjoy Namausk, but I enjoy Namausk Spring. Though I maybe going back to the mouse now after I've enjoyed Sakal so much might be a different way of looking at it. But I'm not ready to run a hardcore the mouse server. I might as well run Sakal. If that makes sense. And we've done that. And because of the cold, because of there's so much content available, because of survivor missions that gives players something to do, that's massive for me. Rather than just players building a base, getting loads of loot, and then getting bored and stopping playing the server because they've got nothing else to do. Giving them something to do is really good. Saying, here you are guys, now you've got something you can do. The mouse is good. It's just not me. I don't like maps that have like alien portals, which is the mouse. I don't think it fits into DayZ, in my humble opinion. It does. Other people love it, but the idea of jumping through an alien portal to get a one tapper doesn't interest me. For me, end game is about blowing someone's doors off and stealing all their loot. For the same reason, as much as I like Deer Isle as a map, I don't like the Deer Isle stuff because, yeah, I have to sacrifice myself to a blood god to go through a teleportal, to do this, to do that, to do the other. That doesn't interest me. The map's great, but it's a very laggy map because it's so big, and it's not really made for PvP. It's made for adventure. It's an adventure map. It's about doing the route to get to the Ice Temple. Yes. And I don't, you know, as much as it's made it really easy to run over here now, I don't like that they moved the ice flows to make it easy. This was meant to be a hard map. And this little update made it easy. You might as well have just made a bridge. But that's me. I like difficulty, which is probably why I'm liking the idea of Ganaris, because we can make it difficult. Which map? Yes, yeah, exactly the same, mate. Exactly the same. We will stay with this map mod now. It works so very well. I just needed to make sure that we could have this map mod working so when people didn't have a map, it wouldn't allow them to see the map. Once I got that working, I was happy to stay with it. Yeah, it was about getting the map mod right. That's what it was about. Go. I mean, we're running the patch, so it has the late fall, early winter patch. So it's going to look like Sakau. It's going to have snowstorms of Sakau. It's going to be minus 15 at night and 0 or minus 1 during the day. So you're still going to need fires every 10 minutes. We're going to have frozen food. Yeah. It's going to feel like a big Sakau. I'll put edit content in there. The trader will be at altar, so it's going to be a not easy to get to the trader because of the survival aspect of it. You know, I've given you the hints about base building, which will make more sense. I'll do a little video as well about it before it goes live, saying this is how you base build, and this is. I won't explain how for everyone to build the same, but I'll explain how splash damage works, because that's a whole new concept for players. You know, if you blow a door and there's another door too close, you're in for a fright. If I do decide to give you vehicles, you can guarantee that I'll make it difficult. You know, fuel will be only available at altar at the trader, and all the other fuel stations will be turned off. You know what I'm like. Because I want players killing each other. I want the recycling of gear. I don't want people to get massive amounts of loot. Because it just means I have to wipe the server and people get annoyed because they don't understand why. Because somebody will be like, well, my base is empty. I've got no loot. Why are you wiping it? I'm like, because other people have massive amounts and we're all lagging. And so it's about building a server that allows you guys to play survival without it becoming too much of an issue. I've left boats out of Sakau at the moment. You'll get boats back. I would prefer to have gyrocopters and cars, because one gyrocopter buzzing over the map really slowly that carries no loot, that you can only buy from Alta for a serious amount of money, that forces players to build some way of securing it in their base, that makes them vulnerable to attack, is better than a garage, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay. Trying to do that without falling in. I believe you can do this whole run with only one swim. We had a DayZ adventure last Saturday. We did a run together. He came and joined us for a run. But Cookie's good. He's off playing Warzone. Doesn't stream now, but plays a lot of Warzone. Probably going to join me on Delta Force at some point. We'll do a Delta Force run together. We just come back to the place we just left? No, we haven't. Okay. Ah, they put castles on here, modded castles. £9 to buy nails. See, that's the other option. I might give you some way of, on Chernarus, we could have cannabis in, or Bitcoin, or one of the other money making things, so people could do that in their base to be able to buy stuff. I quite like, everyone does the drugs one, so I quite like having computer parts, put a computer together, mining bitcoins. That to me appeals. Or the moonshine one, where you have to make moonshine and sell that. Or even just having collectibles on the map and having a reason to sell them. Yeah, but there's a reason for that, because nails are needed. Yeah? Because one box of nails doesn't get you very long in GoblinZ, does it? At the moment. But we're not having the same base building mod in the future. So nails are going to be more important for building your base. And if you want a nice secure base and you want to have a hangar for a helicopter or a car, a garage, you're going to need a lot of nails. If someone raids you, you're going to need to be able to rebuild. And if we go for a long wipe, maybe I'll say you can have 10 code locks. Yeah? Because we've got if we're going to do a long wipe, we can up the amount of code locks people are allowed. Because people that build big bases are more likely to be found. I'm not limiting the amount of bases people have either. If you want to have more than one base, you can do. But each base will only be allowed X amount of code locks, whatever I decide on. And it might be a case of that's total code locks for the base, because you'll also be able to put code locks on lockers. There you go. You'll be able to put code locks on lockers as well. And there'll be ways of raiding lockers. So it might be a case of me saying that you can have 5 code locks per base, use them how you wish. It might be a case of me saying you can have 5 code locks per base and as many storage containers as you wish. But I prefer having just a total amount of code locks to be used across the bases. That to me makes more sense. And that sort of stuff's easier to manage. Right, I think we're probably going to end the stream up here. I'm back at work tomorrow, on my own tomorrow. We'll get on that. Oh, we don't want that. That. 101. Okay. Right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the interaction. Thanks for the chat. Remember, if you have a goblin in your sights, miss.